Hello and welcome back to the show. This could be the last game of the day as Team Liquid have won 2 straight. They are on match point. FlyQuest got to try to fight them back. They have gone back to blue side. Maybe early Vi won't come through. Vi against Meatballs did not find success, couldn't find a way in.
Yeah.
Some good moments for sure, but I want to see if they can kind of climb back up to TL's level.
I mean, the key difference there was, game 1, Vi was 5th pick, right? You got to see the full comp before he locked it in. Game 2, it gets banned, so I understand why they early rounded it in game 3, because like, it's going to get banned out. We got to grab it now. But TL had such a strong answer. So I agree with what the folks on the desk were actually talking about, where, just first pick Azir, pick Scaly in all lanes, look to try to team fight, right? Because they actually were very successful with that in game number 1.
And the other thing that the analyst desk kept hitting on are these 2 bans that Team Liquid have kept, the Yuumi and the Lulu. By banning out those enchanter supports, you also dissuade FlyQuest from one of those other styles that plays away from how Team Liquid have found their success, which is early snowball, early fighting. So they don't want FlyQuest to play the long game, and they've successfully been able to craft a strategy to ensure that that happens in a best of series. So definitely props to them for that. Coaching staff as well as the players. And once again, FlyQuest, this time around, they leave the Draven up. They leave the Draven up. They have decided to take out the Azir, which both of them have blind picked, even though they are blue team, and they leave the Draven available.
Yeah, it's really interesting, because I was going to say, it's like, if you ban the Azir, it makes you think you want to go Sivir, but I don't think they're going to go Sivir with Draven up, so
you play it.
Now I'm a little bit...
Step
just
up, there we go,
Draven,
Johnsun.
first pick it, just grab it out. I'm a little bit perplexed as to what they're going to go for here on first pick.
That's interesting. Yeah, I'm curious because if there's a Sivir Draven microcosm, guess what? TL get the better side of each one. If you grab Sivir, we get Draven. If you wait to grab it, we can Sivir on 3 and then ban a counter. Like, TL have a lot of control. They decide, no, we would rather go for jungle priority. That is definitely a new angle into it, and it could work.
toucouille's Azir has been so good though, so I'm very surprised that they don't elect to actually grab that first. Wukong hasn't felt like it's really mattered much at all in this series. So we'll have to see, what else they're going to try to pair with this. Where toucouille wants to go, it may be a totally different read. Like maybe they're going to go full early game and they're saying, hey, like it's actually that we need too much time for these Azir. We need to be able to scrap early in all our lanes.
Yeah, I think they have to in this game of the best of series because they've already been blocked at every other strategy from Team Liquid.
Yeah.
As far as the jungle priority though, this is kind of why it's a little bit perplexing still, because Santorin, Trundle, he'll go back over to it over and over and over. There's a reason for the memes, there's a reason for the nickname, and they grab it early for him now.
And Leona gonna come through actually, taking a high price on a new engage support. Again, of course, Draven's still gonna be there, so if you go for the Sivir, well, guess what? We can still Draven on 3. Leona is fine into Sivir. I mean, Alistar's better, but you don't know the matchup, so I can expect this. I can understand this is a blind pick, which hedges a lot of bets, right? You're still able to play a solid Leona Draven lane. If it's not that one, you can go somewhere else instead. It's gonna look fine. toucouille, who went LeBlanc into Azir and could only really tread water, decides, well, we're gonna just drop the Azir ban outright and still look at LeBlanc.
Might just be Syndra, honestly, again from Bjergsen. I feel like it would be a pretty strong answer.
I would prefer something like the Ryze or Malzahar or Lissandra that really counters the LeBlanc.
Yeah.
Ryze will beat her in lane. Lissandra, of course, the ultimate for later. You just instant point and click. Malzahar, same thing.
The Alistar on 3 is interesting because I think they're trying to like pre-counter the Sivir. They're saying, we think you're going to go Sivir on 3, so we're going to pick this. So you can't actually ban out some of the answers.
That's actually been my favorite thing of this series, is just having Alistar back. Alistar is a fun support to watch. We've got some good laughs out of that.
Solo kill. When's the last time you saw an Alistar solo kill?
About 30 minutes ago, 40, I don't know.
Before that.
How long was it?
Come on.
Alrighty, Sivir is locked in after all, so I want to know what other bans come through. Kog'Maw and Twitch are the ones that look really good in solo queue. Draven there as well. I don't know if you're willing to play Cog against a Leona. To be fair, with Cleanse, you get a decent chance of playing it. Regardless, though, Alistar did win this matchup back in game 1.
Pillar is also really tough when you play no dash marksman, right?
Yeah.
Like if you play Twitch or Cog, you get pillared in, you can cleanse the Leona ult, but Leona's still coming and you're still slowed, right? So it's very, very difficult. It's going to be respect to the Philip Aatrox. Obviously had that monster game 1. Last game, not really able to get much going.
Yeah, I think it's just a respect to the player and champion comfort right there. Not necessarily, okay, last game, wasn't this huge thing, but I think the priority there has shown for him.
And he's probably got a blind pick this one, right? Like, as blue side, if they want to give you counter, you don't get counter. So Aatrox, one of the safest blinds. Ornn has been routinely a ban for FlyQuest. Goes on the list yet again here.
Yeah, I mean, Bwipo was pretty effective on the Sejuani, right? So, people don't think of Bwipo as the tank guy, but really he plays, whatever he does think is best. Will be interesting to see, what the final bans here, if it's going to be more focused down towards that top lane, or if it's going to be a marksman ban, something like Twitch, as you were saying. I don't feel like TL would be super concerned about that because of some of the interactions I was talking about with Trundle Pillar plus the Leona ult. It's very, very difficult to get away. So instead, it is actually the game one answer of the Aphelios that they're going to take away.
The exact lane they played, and it worked in game one. Looked pretty solid. So
yeah,
we'll see if he goes for any of the ones that we have been seen. Obviously, again, Draven could be good. I'm going to go look at all-time for Johnsun, see if he's actually been much of it. Not much this split, but looking all-time, see if he's gotten any on it.
Yeah, not a lot of players play Draven in NA, to be honest. And not a lot of players even worldwide play Draven. It's one of those champions that, like, you have to have put in an enormous amount of games. If you're not amazing at Draven, Draven is a garbage pick in pro, right? So there's very few people. It's usually these specialists in some of the...
The shout out.
Yeah.
The shout out to himself.
Yeah.
Yo, I just want a quick shout out.
Shout out me. Remember that game? That was great. It's a self high five.
All right, Ahri comes through, though. Can, of course, shut down LeBlanc.
Baller.
Yeah. Yeah.
Based on Sama.
It's good. And he gives Ahri over to his mid laner, which should be fun. So FlyQuest need their bot lane. There's your Draven, however. Again, 0 recorded games on his career. Vayne!
This is the old school answer, man.
She smashes the one-on-one. Sivir has no gameplay around it. But if you can retain pressure early, Vayne can't kind of get through the minions easily.
Yeah.
But if you're ever left alone, she just kind of kill you with ult.
This is exactly what it used to be, is that spell shield. You can't spell shield the passive, the Silver Bolt's passive. And people used to go Vayne into this matchup and then try to get into the side lane where the supports roam, and they try to find these 1v1 situations where the Sivir really can't compete. But Sivir just needs to play the waves, doesn't need to play the champion. This is a risky pick here, though. I love going for the Vayne here. You also, if you're really good with it, you can buffer your E on the Zenith Blade from Leona, knock her away on that. You have really good shred for both Leona and the Trundle, so it's pretty cool.
I was gonna say, it is both good versus Leona and the Trundle. Like, it actually has the possibility to put you on that pedestal. It also, FlyQuest here, they're very clearly, hey, we want to 1-3-1. We want to split this map.
Yeah.
So they don't want to play into Team Liquid's game that we've seen 2 games in a row. Team Liquid have played 5 on 5. They have grouped, they have snowballed. FlyQuest is saying, great, we're going to split the map now. Every champion here wants a split map. LeBlanc split push, Camille split push, even the Vayne split push. So see if they can actually accomplish that, because Team Liquid have practiced over and over, get that early game going, snowball off those neutral objectives, group up.
One big concern I have, though, for FlyQuest comp is if you want to play side lanes, one of the most important things is having solid wave clear in your mid lane. They have no wave clear from any of their champions. Their wave clear is abysmal. So it is going to be really difficult to withstand TL if they group up and look for those engages while FlyQuest is trying to play the map.
That's going to be the test, though. FlyQuest backs are against the wall. This is a double elimination bracket. If they lose, they will fall to the bottom side and will have a second life, but you don't want to drop this early. Team Liquid on double match point. They can close it here. They can close it in game 5. We're back on the Sivir. Hansama has been mechanically amazing all series long. And we'll see what's going to happen here as Vayne comes through as the answer for FlyQuest. A lot of pressure on Johnson's shoulders. Can FlyQuest step up? Let's see game 4. To Summoner's Rift. Woo! As Team Liquid look to push forward into the next round of the upper bracket, where 100 Thieves and Evil Geniuses await them and the winners of tomorrow. EG's choice of who it'll be. How good will they look? FlyQuest need to win 2 straight. Took the first one. It was really convincing out of Philip. He did so well. Aphromoo, I think, another standout there as well. And guess what? It's going to be about them again. Alistar and Camille, the best engaged tools his team has.
I'm going to be really interested to see how Philip's going to be able to withstand Gragas up in the top lane. It's one of the most annoying top laners to actually lane against as a melee champ. You know, you can really kind of poke away at these champions. You have so much sustain with the passive first strike tier You know, it's not going to be a tier star this time, but First Strike plus AP rather is becoming really heavily the meta. You just harass them away, farm that gold, and make the lane stage difficult.
And we've heard from FlyQuest off the rift several times. We've now got a chance of LeTigress grabbing a word with Team Liquid Honda's Giotto. Let's join them.
Yep, I've got Giotto here. All right, what were you thinking when the Vayne came through? Is that something that you expected?
No, definitely not. It's obviously something that is a surprise, but I think that just like any other team, whenever you're on a game losing point on a series, you're going to pull out some surprises. We were expecting a surprise, not necessarily the Vayne, but curious to see how he pulls it out.
Yeah, definitely some strategies to be brought from both sides as far as getting the map split, getting these engaged supports in it. What is TL's overall game plan to shut this series down?
We just want to be able to play our comp, make sure that we deny the Wukong flanks and the Camille engages, and then that we are just a bit more aware of the damage that Vayne can do. If we can find some good action with the Leona and the Gragas, then we have good possibilities of reaching to their carries, and if we do, then we can win the game, but it's definitely close.
Yeah, definitely close and getting a lot of action right off the bat. Let's hop back into the game.
Nice charm there, Bjergsen. A couple hundred health out. Also, I believe Santorin fully dodged the trinket ward coming down as he just took the sidestep out of the brush and took the blast point. Now he's going to get spotted, but you know, got to hide a little bit longer.
Yep, and toucouille has been pretty consistent about his ward placement there. You know, gets the push, wards the Raptors. It's something that they're definitely anticipating, and Bjergsen's going to have the read anytime he steps away. But Bo taking some rough trades, but does have so much sustain, you know, with that passive. So Philip, you know, his mana may become a problem.
This could look good though in the brush.
As a jungler, I appreciate that ward from mid laner so much. The Raptor ward helps a ton. And Jose actually gets chased off of the Scuttle Crab, but because the pillar was used on the shield, he has to use the smite to break the shield. And since there is CoreJJ about 3 seconds ahead on the support roam timer, he gets it.
And I actually really like that core roam because it allowed Bjergsen to finish his base, right? Otherwise, Bjergsen can't actually base there. He has to cover because toucouille could come over and you could get that kill. So core making the roam protects the lane for Bjergsen, secures the scuttle for Santorin. It is, of course, traded on the other side, but it's a small thing, but a really nice one.
Yep. Again, support aphromoo, knocking off the shield for the scuttle, handing it over to the Wukong, who also appreciates whenever the shield is knocked off by a teammate.
Of course, and Santorin's up a camp, right? He actually got almost everything. He's on Krugs now. Jose had dropped Wolves to be top side and realized, I can't really want to be one of mid pressure. So, you know, kind of flicking the scraps up now. They're both on Krugs, but yeah, down Wolves. We'll see the first recall probably pretty soon. As recalls come in, solid laning phase. Sheen recall, control ward in. Philip gonna try to get enough vision to keep himself safe in top side. And everyone's gonna know that TP is down with how fast to get back to lane with the everything else. Goes for Q auto, cannot get electrocute, and Bjergsen gets better at that trade.
Absolutely does. Looking pretty good so far. Feels like every time we're panning back towards mid lane, he's just landing another charm. But it is top lane recalls on both sides, so not the tier start, but does grab the tier on his first base here. You know, wants to keep the mana up. As long as you have mana, you pretty much have infinite health, and you can kind of just continually sustain up with those low mana costs on your spells. Philip grabs the Sheen recall, so those Q3s are really, really dangerous, and you just have to play around them. You know, wait for those empowered Qs, try to allow that to expire so Philip can get those big hits in.
Do want to shout out the bottom lane for FlyQuest for moving in and putting these wards. Speaking of wards that junglers love and appreciate. Alistar here, aphromoo moving up when they had the push to get those wards. The blue Gromp ward especially gives a ton of information. So now they know that Santorin is bouncing backwards. It is going to be reverse clearing up towards the top half of the map.
And here comes level 6. This is the wave spawning now. This cannon wave is the one that gives solo 6. And so Bjergsen, if you can get enough Vit, can always try for the play. Obviously, toucouille likely able to dodge away, but that's often when you can find the opportunity here. Similar spot right now is a good trade into Philip. And again, if no one dropped any gold, this is going to be the wave giving ulti plays. And honestly, Bwipo trading very aggressively back with him across, but he knows he's a few minutes away from 6. And Philip isn't nearly one-shottable.
Yeah, he is. He does have some biscuits. Has one running, so it is getting dangerous though. And with Bjergsen getting the push mid, you start to get really scared because if Bjergsen leaves lane, that could be terrifying. Trundle already looking for a potential wraparound here. Bwipo is now 6, getting a little bit low on mana, but you know, definitely if Philip gets shagged with another spell or two here, they're gonna pull off this dive.
Jungle and mid roaming up.
Yeah, here it comes.
Fighting gets the minion for 6, but now comes the wave into the tower, and that's going to tank it up for him. So as the wave gets pushed down, Philip Sus is out. This is getting dangerous, and Santorin going to put a lot of damage down.
You can pillar interrupt if you do the right timing.
And he gets him back, so it forces the flash, but Bjergsen's here. He's got the ult. He's going to land almost everything. Ult comes across for Philip. Still goes down. First blood again.
Well done. Team Liquid coordinate the dive. They deny some of the minions. toucouille trying to harass as they escape.
Yeah, that's a big kill there. You know, Philip getting chunked down, loses at least a full 2 waves. He actually lost so much off that play and dies. So it is really, really brutal. There was no TP on toucouille. Bjergsen gets pushed. Santorin's already up there. Just such a well-orchestrated dive. And that's one that as a top laner, you can't really do anything about. You need your team to cover you there. So I'm not sure if the communication wasn't there or if they just couldn't actually make the play up. As long as Santorin doesn't waste his pillar, there's no real getting out.
Yeah,
He's able to pillar and braid out of it.
And the timing is what's critical there. Because you have the range, Trundle's actually one of the best junglers at ganking the Camille. As long as you go after he's already started it, you can knock him off, and does allow the Ahri, very mobile there from Bjergsen, to be able to come in and ensure that they get the first blood money. That plus the laning advantages for Team Liquid have them at another comfortable early lead.
Good as mid goes down. Johnsun got a wave into the bottom side. He's actually going to stay around, but now up against Bjergsen, he's not going to get probably one shot with cleanse, but yeah, those damages add up. And once Bjergsen has ulti, you can deal 700 even if you cleanse the charm.
Yeah, he's just going to leave, and you pretty much have to, right? It is a little bit dangerous to be there in the 1v1 against the Ahri, so going to have to pay the respect to that. We'll see. Looks like he's just going to head out towards topside. Wants to be ready for a potential Herald fight, but I do feel like TL are kind of better equipped to take it. Bwipo didn't use anything on that top side, and flash plus ulti from Gragas is terrifying.
Yeah, I think Team Liquid will answer this. They've already got Bjergsen roaming up on Ahri. Cooldown for Ahri's ultimate is close. Not currently available to help him close the gap, but Rift Herald does take a little while here. Eyeball is going to take another 2 pops to finish it.
And here comes the first team fight, though. Sivir ulti is on towards Philip. Pretty squishy champion. Nothing
the charm
available.
Afro.
Ignite is on. Buys a bit of time, but Philip doesn't get hit by the explosive cast. Afro goes down, though. Big by Bwipo. Bjergsen chases in for a second. And already FlyQuest are pushed out. It's a 2,000 gold lead before the Herald even died.
Oh, that's so rough. So as the Sivir was moving forward, they got the spell shield, and then Afro tries to flash in and actually combo the Sivir, and Bjergsen's charm that I believe was heading for Philip tags Afro and interrupts his combo off of the flash. So Afro gets absolutely nothing, and that ends the hard engage there from FlyQuest. So just like that, TL now massively ahead in this one again, crushing in the early game.
Yeah, Johnsun trying to get some 1v1 attention, but he knows Team Liquid other members are around. No use further chasing it. A play like that. And we'll take another look in our...
Rocket flips the replay.
There you go. Now watch out for right as he goes in. That charm was 100% going for Philip. It was already pre-cast at the same time as Afro flashes in, so he can't get the combo out. And Afro is pre-6, so he just goes down in a hurry. That gives 1 reset over to Bjergsen. Philip gives a second, forcing Johnsun to flash out. Absolute disastrous play there. Really unfortunate timing, and a great timing over on the other side from TL. Has now 2,500 gold in the lead here in what is match point.
Yeah, and a game or a play like that in a series where the last 2 games from Team Liquid have been so stompy and so one-sided, really is demoralizing. Let's see if FlyQuest can actually withstand this. Down almost 3,000 gold now. Got to rally around the game plan. Again, everybody scramble, split the map, try and make some individual outplays. This comp is built for individual outplays, and you actually have to make those now. You actually just have to be better players on the day to pull out this win.
Absolutely. I mean, there's no fallback plan. You have no wave clear, right? You can't just sit back. You're going to get bled out so
Challenge
fast.
them to duels. 1v1 me, bro. Let's go.
Move down dodgeball.
In all chat, hope it happens. Here we go, on to the next, well, the first Phreak of the game. I think this is the latest we've seen first Phreak killed, but it's because TL's been busy killing champions. Gold lead already about 3,000, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised.
It's hard work.
It is, it is hard work.
Take care of that before you get to your dragon killing work.
But the thing is, I wouldn't be surprised if Santorin showed up to cast the last half of this game, because he's been everywhere in this series.
Hey, let's call him up here.
Yeah. I mean, at a certain point, I think they can just, you know, we'll close that with 4. You give them enough of the gold lead Santorin, and I think you're allowed. I think I would allow it personally. You know, I would vouch for him.
Not sure TL would allow it.
Depends how much gold they have.
Yeah.
Yeah, FlyQuest are like, yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, great idea. But it's definitely a tough one now for Philip, right? Loses 2 waves top off of that 3-man dive on him. Didn't have the coverage. Then, he's the one that goes in and actually forces out the spell shield from Hans. The follow-up play doesn't work. He dies there too, losing even more farm. So the farm definitely not great for Philip, and he's going to be set way back as Bwipo already has the Mythic and the tier on top. He has the free boots, so the Night Harvester coming in, going to be all about the burst here for Bwipo, looking to find those combos on a Johnsun. And I think it's honestly a really hard Vayne game to navigate in a lot of ways. You do have really good damage to actually shred through these frontliners, but if you get pillared in and Core and Bwipo are walking at you and Bjergsen's ulting on you, like that is tough to outplay. Like you're so slow on Glacial Augment plus Trundle Pillar.
Yeah, you don't walk fast away. The move speed is really only toward enemy champions, and you can't tumble a pillar. So mid lane turret goes down, split 4 ways, so 80 gold apiece. Goes down 4 plates, I should say. The turret itself still alive. But we see the 3,500 gold lead, the Drake in the advantage. Team Liquid definitely holding all the cards right now.
Yeah, absolutely. They're looking really, really strong, and they just want to keep utilizing their wave clear, right? As long as Sivir has Vayne locked under the tower wave clearing, there's nothing that he can really look for here.
And that's why they've rotated towards mid lane. You want Sivir to be just sucking up minions. The vacuum cleaner mid lane, that's a game that you would like to play. No side lanes versus this Vayne, please. No shenanigans for FlyQuest. Don't fall for the YouTube highlight challenges.
I just realized we need a Sivir skin where the disc is a Roomba. Just vacuuming up minions. Get on it, Ryan.
Gold.
Yeah. You got to go back to base and recharge it once in a while. It goes, charge it back to full.
Every time you throw out the Q, you got to charge it back up.
He's got a big mana battery. You're fine. You get some time for it, but. Oh boy, yeah, this is looking pretty solidly Team Liquid. First item is in for their AD carry. I mean, you can see just down the line, right? 4 Mythics is in, just the one for Johnsun. He's got some decent farm, but every lane is looking great right now. Bwipo not gonna get caught by the stun. CoreJJ drops a ward to help track, and aphromoo just shadowing, hey, is there a bot dive? Flash in! Cast nearly kills, ulti doesn't have the heals to flash himself back out.
Oh, that was really, really close there. Not quite the damage on either side, locking in Bwipo, but you can see how frustrating this matchup is. I mean, you just got constantly harassed under tower time and time again. There's not a lot you can do if you can't force the all in. It's very difficult, and Bwipo always has the opportunity to just disengage with his own ulti. You can knock Camille out of her Hextech ultimatum and disengage that way.
The turret is low as people roam down. Still, the wards look pretty good. TL had the control ward, could not finish killing it. They know that there's some danger down here, but Aphro, not exactly the champion to solo farm this. Yet. Okay, Camille finally on her way. Not brave enough to try to freeze that lane. Doesn't know where anyone else is, and though he has an ulti, probably not worth doing. You can see, yeah, top 4 gold. FTX Total Gold is all Team Liquid. Poor Core, not allowed kills this game.
I'm really interested to see if they're actually going to contest the next dragon here. If they can hit their mythics, is that your best timing? Because it's one of these situations where, TL is so far up in gold. Yes, they're going to be 1 item plus pieces, but you want to probably fight when you're on 1 and they're not on 2, right? And I think this next dragon might be their best shot.
Also, it has become more costly to try and play that game of, oh, we're going to keep giving up dragons until the critical soul, because the buffs were all improved by 50%. So every dragon you're giving away is also a significant increase in power now that just compounds the issue.
Johnsun actually loses the 1v1 against Hans. Yes, he has to disengage because, Core's in the way, so he can't play the full trade out, but Gragas Slayer hit with the attack reset before Silver Bolts, and Johnsun will slowly sustain back up. Yes. Ooh, ow. Yep. Well aimed. That always feels so bad when you're like, she landed Q. I could have theoretically dodged that. Turret's almost dead, though. And 30 seconds.
I mean, they're going to lose top lane Herald. Mid lane tower is so close to dying. I don't even know that they need Herald, but even if they want, they can actually drop this here, probably without it, and then even drop Herald elsewhere later. But TL are just running them over. They're not giving Vayne any opportunity to make plays because you're just locked in your tower trying to wave clear the whole time.
Yeah, and the Sivir bouncing boomerang there also interrupted the recall. Another annoying thing against playing against this champion. Gets delayed on the reset. Won't get back in time for this cannon wave at the tower. Is the cannon going down? Oh, get it! Oh, it died before he got there.
He got XP, but that's not the biggest part of that one. Bjergsen on the way down. On the turret, nearly kills it. The second turret of the game. Minions wants to stay in golden if he can. 300 on his inventory, good charm. Gets rid of Philip. Root as well, good damage. TP's coming across. This is gonna be the fight, but can they have the damage? Explosive cast builds him out. Philip now down to 1K, sidestep Zenith blade, but he still not have a way to live. There's one on the board. Sivir's gonna get it, and Bjergsen the chase for a bit more. Charm should be back up soon. will not find his next target. Johnsun holds his cleanse. 4-0. The pacing is perfect game right now in game 4 of the series.
TL are just on fire in these last couple games here. Looking to make it 3 straight as they're on to the second dragon.
The pull was late. Or he started the head, or he started the body slam. I can't tell which. Either way, the Bwipo is over the wall all the same. And this means the dragon will burn down. Even Spell Shield blocks the damage out of toucouille. Literally heals the Sivir with the spells.
This greatly reduces the chance that we get our YouTube highlight montage Vayne game here. It is not going to be easy to play. 2 dragons, 6,000 gold, only 17 minutes into the game.
Yeah, and the second items are going to be through before they get another chance to fight, right? You know, top lane we can already see. Second item completed there. We have all the pieces already for the PD for Hans. Shadow Flame perhaps coming out second here for Bjergsen. That's going to be done soon. And he's been able to easily answer these side lane plays. You know, Philip is just so far down that he can't really threaten either one of the soul laners.
And credit goes to Bwipo, honestly. The first 2 games, you know, back and forth on the side lane, but in game 2 onwards, this has been like Bwipo has completely controlled top lane. He has been the better laner by far, bigger impact in team fights as well. Full credit to him. You know, the AP Gragas coming back as well, also looks good on this one. And the rest of his team's been consistent. So, you know, it's a lot of these leads have come from him crushing top lane, and then the rest has also looked good. Core brought out of the tower. Doesn't matter.
You gotta also give credit though to TL who got him ahead, right?
Yes.
Like it was a 3-man dive to actually put him ahead. It wasn't an advantage created really in the 1v1 in this game. You know, Philip was kind of pushing in and whatever. Both people with no TP. TL pulls off that 3-man dive, and that's where top lane goes really bad. When you get dove with the wave at your tower and no TP, it is almost impossible to come back from that in the 1v1 without help. Because you're put so far down in golden experience.
Yeah, generally the determining factor in mid lane matchups like this are actually which assassin champion gets to go for the first gank and gets to affect one of the other lanes. And Bjergsen got out there with Santorin.
Yeah, and I think Bjergsen Santorin have been having a really good series, right? These last 3 games especially have been making such a world of difference. In this one, Bjergsen making the early roam of the top side with Santorin. Santorin has been back-to-back good games. The swing game was amazing from Bjergsen, going legendary in that one. So it's been a very strong series from the mid-jungle of TL.
Absolutely agree. 7,000 is now the gold lead. Still on pace for perfect game against FlyQuest to close it out and send it to the lower bracket. Or they wait to see if EG picks them or the winner of CLG C9. But this is the pace we are on. I mean, this is still a massive lead TL's way. Still 2.5 for the next Drake. Another 5 beyond that for the Soul. I don't know when FlyQuest find their way in because they don't have a lead anywhere on this map.
Well, at this point, you need to trade for some objective bounties. Like, you do not ever want to go heads up 5-on-5. And they're built for split pushing. That's basically your only out in this game.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to go split push. I will get top tower objective bounty. You guys outplayed them. Good luck.
Yep.
You know, you give them a thumbs up, pat on the back. I believe in you. Let me see that outplay. I'm just going to look at my top lane, and hopefully at the top of my screen, it will say ally has slain an enemy champion.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're looking for long shots no matter what you do, right? And we can see it's like every time Johnsun and Hans are on screen, Johnsun is struggling to kill the wave. They're going for the engage here.
The big play. Bjergsen gets out in time, charms the clone. Low on health, but staying healthy enough. toucouille could not get onto the back line, had flash, did not have ult. Could not get the spells to land to kill the Ahri.
Yeah, they get the flash off Bjergsen, so not bad, but still not really what they wanted from that. And Bwipo able to answer topside, so we'll defend the tower up there for now. It's got to be, up to these side laners. Got to find that play, as you're saying, Kobe. You need to find some sort of window of opportunity where you can look for the outplay, where you can find the 1v1. Only individual plays like that really are going to delay the game and kind of stretch TL apart to a point where maybe you have a window in. But because your wave clear is so bad, TL really just need to stay as a squad, push in waves, force them to answer, and Fly will always be behind the play because they're so slow to clear out these waves.
Speaking of being behind the play.
Yeah, well, Tuk can jump the wall and show up into Bjergsen's face, sidesteps the charm. He will buy a lot of space. Still a minute away from the Drake spawning, so it's Camille running towards the top side. A juke to safety. Did they catch the right champion over the wall? Back into the mix, and there is no way out anymore. There's the Everfrost to claim it. toucouille goes down. Bjergsen continues to have 100% kill participation.
Really well played. TL just make the collapse towards bot side, and still FlyQuest just pushing up towards these towers. They will get the top lane tier 1, so should go gold positive on this play. but they have no control in bot side. Absolutely no vision at all on that side of the map. You can see even in their own bot jungle, like not one ward, right? So it is almost impossible for them to actually walk in here. TL setting up shop in the area. If Aphro face checks, he's going to be in trouble.
What do they got in the Team Liquid shop these days? What are they selling?
They're selling all kinds of merch.
They still got a Marvel deal going on?
I don't know.
No?
Don't think so.
Let's check it out. Because honestly, Team Liquid, 8,000 gold Dragon arriving. They would love if they could get the team fight. Oh, here we go.
No, CoreJJ takes a whole lot of damage. Vayne is in. That's Azonia's. That's a cast backwards, staying alive, but the burn down comes in. 1 for nothing. Can they get the rest? The knock comes in for the Wukong. Do they find the rest of this fight, though? Philip wants to find a target. Locks down Trundle, flash to safety. Pillar is on. Johnsun barely alive with a charm. Lands, and Bjergsen keeps it going. A 3 for nothing. And toucouille is going to fall. You have to believe, out of the tower. He'll find another. Jose drops. It's a 5-1.
Even when the fight starts with a huge chunk pick out on the CoreJJ, they blast them.
Yeah, TL had so much AoE damage there. For a moment, you think maybe Johnsun could have the montage play here. But the ricochets coming through from Sivir, the damage coming through from Bjergsen, Trundle Pillar lands onto the Vayne, and there's nowhere for him to go. Charm after charm after charm land. TL moved to Soul Point here. We can see it again. The initial play is great. The combo win, the hookshot lands, they have the condemn into the wall, but the stopwatch comes through, and then body slam flash ulti, everything onto Johnsun. Cleanse, flashes out, and you're thinking maybe, but Johnsun is just getting chunked down by all this random AoE damage that is coming through. The ricochets getting him lower and lower and lower, and he can't really ever free fire. Then the boomerang blade hits him. The Trundle Pillar comes down, slows him up. He gets nailed by the charm, and Bjergsen is just going off in this game.
Yeah, Bjergsen Ahri is looking dang good. Look at this charm as well.
Whoop.
Catches Jose as he's trying to jump over back to safety, and Team Liquid wrap up that team fight. 10.8 thousand gold. All right, where's Ben? We gotta get a sideline interview. Ask him actually what's in that TL merch shop.
And here goes. Baron is up, and you got items on there. Yeah.
There we go. The dancing horse, the Baron, gonna be acquired. FlyQuest, if they run right now, they can
TP.
charge in.
They're gonna try. Core's gonna mark it
Gotta
again.
try.
Sees Jose. No flash.
Get
Has
in
an
there.
ulti. Needs to find his way in. Will not do so. Baron claimed. Core no stopwatch. Dunk comes in for Philip. They get a single kill, but will the rest even happen? It's a trade of a 1-for-1. Bit of an engage for Wukong, but his health bar is low, and he's gonna drop now as well. After wants the front line, wants to zone. Buys some space for Johnsun, who's still getting attacked, and just the duo is dead. Now, toucouille, left alone, gonna find him yet again. I am sorry, buddy, but you are burning corrupting potion. Will claim everything they need. A double kill comes across. 15-2, back-to-back Bud Light aces. A single turret and 2 kills is all that did anything to slow down Team Liquid. Game 1 looked good, but game 2, 3, and 4 looked even better for TL. They will knock down the turrets. They will knock down FlyQuest in the fastest game of the series. Congratulations, moving up and forward in the upper bracket. Team Liquid take the win.
What a monster series from TL. Game 1, could have shaken other teams, but they used that for game 2, 3, and 4. They were even more dominant. This one all over in under 25. The team play was there. They drafted well. They responded to even these surprise picks incredibly well, utilizing the Trundle Pillar plus the Ahri to land the charms on the Vayne. Back-to-back fights. Johnsun cannot outplay that. And TL just looking so damn solid. You have to think there's no shot that EG are gonna pick TL. And that is setting up for the TL 100 Thieves rematch again. These two teams have been on a collision course time and time again over the last couple years.
I would say wait until we see tomorrow. Wait until we see tomorrow before you write off the other team.
I'm willing to take that bet.
TLG, we have actually already made that bet. TLG versus Cloud9 tomorrow as well. That one is guaranteed to be a banger. Guaranteed action from the beginning of the game till the Nexus explodes.
Yep.
Those two teams have been the most volatile in the LCS. Team Liquid today, though, they smooth it out. Again, the veterans, composure on stage, Best of fives and playoffs go the full distance. Game number 1, they were not thrown off. They bring it back. Thank you for the Cap Kobe sign. Appreciate it. Shout out to the fans.
TSM and Golden Guardians await in the lower bracket for FlyQuest, as well as the loser of tomorrow's match. FlyQuest are not out. They will bounce back. They will play, I forget if it's going to be Thursday or Friday next week, but they've got a 5-6 day turnaround, and they will be back on. And then you got to make the run again. Top 3, make worlds. You can still win from the lower bracket. It's what EG did in spring. Yes, you have to step up. Yes, you got to do better than a 1-3 loss to TL to make that happen, of course. But hey, it's time to bounce back, right? The road is not over for them, and so we'll see how FlyQuest can do in weeks 2, 3, and onwards.
Yeah, absolutely. And the road will get easier for a while for FlyQuest. You know, they're going to be going up against some weaker opponents in the lower bracket here. TL was obviously a big ask for them. This is the number 3 seed that they were going up against, and TL really did show them why here today. And I think, you know, this level of dominance is kind of what people were hoping for from TL when they saw this roster, when they saw, you know, how good this team could be, that they could carry from any lane, that they would have all these different threats. And we kind of got to see that showcase today. Bwipo with some monster games. We got the Hansama Draven. We got Bjergsen absolutely popping off on the Swain and on the Ahri. So it really was, I think, good news for TL fans, right? Seeing how dynamic the team looked and how solid they looked in games 2, 3, 4.
I cheated. I looked at Santorin for the interview. Yes, that was my vote for player of the game.
Nice. Well, we are going to be catching up with Santorin. Spoilers for the Rise of Book interview. See you there.
You see us here. Team Liquid victory for our first playoff series here of summer. Sounded like a lot of you were looking to face off against FlyQuest. How do you feel that this aligned with your expectations for the matchup?
Honestly, I'm sad we dropped the game. It didn't feel good because it's also my former organization. So, I don't mind giving some love for FlyQuest, but in playoffs, I want to make sure we beat them, and we did, but we could have done it better.
There are some prized memories of watching you in the finals on FlyQuest, now here on Team Liquid. Diving into that a little bit more, though, how did your team respond to that first game? You know, Philip coming out so strong.
I think we responded well. We had a bad game. Happens. Some individuals could have performed better. I mean, that always happens in the playoff series. And I mean, we're all veterans, so it's not like it really tilts us or anything like that. It's just more like resender, figure out what went wrong, and just make sure it doesn't happen again. Also, I think, we had some very nice drafts, so it's very easy to play. So props to coaching staff too.
Always love to hear the props to the coaching staff, since there's a lot of digging, I feel like, that happens from the players. Yeah. But looking at some of those good performances that we saw from you and the team, I want to focus a bit on what we just witnessed. I believe a perfect game for the first 20 minutes from you all, 7K gold lead established. A lot of that coming off of you, having that early pathing, applying that pressure. Can you walk me through your strategy here?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's just very easy to jungle for this team. There's a lot of very smart players, and I mean, usually if you have 3 winning lanes, it's going to be very easy to jungle. So that's kind of like how it felt. In a sense, I still need to make the right decision, but it just makes it so much easier when, your laners are just doing well. And I think we're all on the same page. Like when we're screaming this kind of stuff, like I'm going to call what I'm going to do, but I feel like they already know what I want to do. And so it's just like more natural. And they also see the same point of view as I do now, which was something we struggled with in the past. So I'm really happy about that.
Do you feel that it was easier or more difficult to make sure you're on the same page when you come into a best of 5 series? Because you're prepping multiple strategies at that point.
It's definitely harder because in best of 1s, you can always have that cheese game where like, oh, you're level 1 invading or like whatever you're doing. But in best of 5, you need to adapt. And I think right now we are adapting well. Also, I don't think FlyQuest made us sweat too hard. So I'm happy we didn't have to show too many things because I'm sure like in playoffs, like we're going to be sweating a lot harder. And then those are the times where you have to keep your composure and actually like still go into the next game feeling refreshed and ready to go.
Yeah, I think you're reserving some of that sweat for the next matchup. I believe it's 100 Thieves that are awaiting you for the next stage. Thoughts on that? When you're looking back at past games against them?
I really want to beat them. I'm really tired of losing to them because I feel like not every time, but some of the times I feel like we're also beating ourselves. For example, last time we played them in regular season, we're 5K up. It's like, I'm pretty sure like some diamond players can end the game like that. Like we just make so many stupid mistakes and then we lose. So it feels like we have the game in complete control. We're doing all the right steps. And then suddenly we just turn our brains off. And those losses are the worst ones for me because I feel like the other team weren't like they were testing us, but it's not like they were playing so well that we just couldn't win. It was like we were playing too bad to win. So I want to make sure like when we play them next time, we're playing well enough that we actually win the game. So.
That's one way to go about it. I mean, looking back at games like this where you all were on the same page so cohesive is one way to boost that confidence going into that matchup.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, always a pleasure watching you on the Rift. Best of luck in your future series, and thank you for the interview.
Thank you so much.
This isn't the only voice that we're hearing from when it comes to Team Liquid, though. It's time to head on over to High for our Pro to Pro.
Farming some Phreaks. Game 1 around done.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. We have Bwipo here. He's very excited to talk because it's coming to him, and he keeps talking about the game, which is great. So let's get to you talking about the game. Well, first off, congrats on the win.
Thank you.
I know you have a lot of words to say about this clip because you walked in here, saw this clip, and then put your hands on your head. So can you run us through what's going on in your head in this clip? Obviously, you're a bit scared, but run us through what goes on in here.
So my mindset here is I'm about to hit level 9, and I know that he has an angle to dive me. He almost has enough damage, but so the thing is, I figured that he wouldn't have enough damage, and that's just me misplaying because he's playing Ignite Aatrox, and I'm not used to how much damage that does. The reality of the situation is, like, I figured he had an angle. He could have had an angle, but I also knew that if I fully commit on him together with the tower, that it would be very close. So I just had a feeling that I could trade 1-for-1 here. The biggest mistake I made is that after he flashes out, I didn't finish off the cannon creep, which is like 1 hit from dying, because I would level up here and lifesteal, and then it would give me enough. It would give me enough healing that I can just lifesteal after the rest of the creeps, and then I think I stabilize the lane. So, funny enough, I'm 1 hit here, but I'm 1 HP. But here, if I right-click this creep, I'll level up, and I'll have enough HP in order to clean the wave up, and then potentially, like, I will either recall or whatever, because I'm pretty sure this is a 1v1 situation as far as I'm aware. So, it was obviously really well played by him. I didn't know how much damage Aatrox, like, I know I have a good grasp of how much damage he does, but Ignite was something I didn't calculate properly, so he found a really good angle on me.
Gotcha. So we'll move on. You kind of get revenge in this next game. You get a counter solo kill on him, actually, right here.
Oh, yeah.
So can you tell me a bit about how it was playing against Philip? And also, just so you know, that first kill, that was his very first solo kill in this playoffs and in the split. So tell me a bit about how it was playing versus Philip.
That's embarrassing. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know. He was playing Ignite Aatrox for 2 games, so I felt like with Teleport I can just outscale him. And then here, I think he just underestimated Sejuani's damage. Basically, if you're even with Renekton into Sejuani at this point, when you have bombies and an armor item, Renekton can't play the game anymore, straight up. And he tried to play the game, so I put him in the dirt.
Gotcha. That's great. So then I have a bit more of a nitty gritty. So this first clip right here, it's like very short. This is game 1. You still have a green trinket, and then game 3, you have a red trinket. So my question is, when you're playing these games, how do you decide to go between red trinket or green trinket?
Well, first things first is I should have had a blue orb. Core also called it, and I was so focused on trying to get back into the game and trying to find, like, I was trying to think of a way where I would be useful because I felt really far behind in the Olaf game. Generally speaking, the way I see it is, like, if you're behind, you want to make sure that you're that you have a blue trinket, so you can have an extra blue orb to use on the Baron, on the Dragon. If you're face checking an area, you have a bit more safety. A green trinket or yellow trinket, I think generally speaking, is good if you are strong, but not strong enough to face check every bush. So what you do is you push your bot wave, and then you just ward your tri-brush yourself. You notice how there's a blue orb there, like, this could be a green ward that you put yourself. You have a pink ward here, and then generally speaking, you have enough vision to contest the neutral waves by yourself.
Gotcha.
That said, the third option is when you've pushed in deep. So I just pushed a very deep wave here. As you can see, I cleared the wave, and now I based and went back into top. I'm going to re-enter topside with my team, and what I like to do is, because usually when you're ahead, your team is going to want to sweep the river and then mid or the enemy jungle. So when you're the top laner and you come through your jungle, I like to have a sweeper that I then activate to, like, either sweep this area if my team hasn't, or to have an extra sweeper to, like, take care of the areas that are, generally speaking, hard to get on the first try. So when you're sweeping vision, usually with jungle support, it's always going to be enemy jungle here and in the river area around the Baron pit. So what I like to do is I like to go like this and sweep around the area. Same in the bot side, I will go here and I'll sweep in this area.
You can touch the TV, you can draw on.
Oh,
yeah,
sure. So basically the path you like to take is, sorry.
Go for it.
That works too. The path you like to take something like this. There we go.
Nice,
the path I like to take something like this, and then secure this tri-brush for your solo laner that is with you, because you're obviously going to be playing on 2 lanes. Because usually your support is going to activate a sweeper here, and then he's going to do this, and then your jungler is going to do something like this, or the other way around, and then this is the area you'll have swept. But sometimes here there's a nasty TP ward, or there's a nasty TP ward on red, or something, and as a top laner, if you're coming into that side anyway, you might as well grab a red trinket since it has a shorter cooldown than the other 2. and just clean up whatever's left and give your team some more space. Now, in this game, I don't think I did it because even if they TP'd behind us, we would just win. So it's like, whatever. It's just more pressure in this area than I can sweep here.
I think it's interesting you bring it up and you gave me like an entire thesis on it, because in my head, it's very simple for me. If you're ahead, you get green and blue wards because you can control the vision. They can't ward. And when you're behind, you get red wards so you can clear out the vision to try and make a flank or something like that. I thought it was as simple as that, but thank you for the lesson. I appreciate that. It's very complicated.
It still applies. I mean, it still
see.
applies. It's just my view of it.
So then I'll play this last clip here, and then as this goes out, this first part right here, I'm wondering, when you're deciding to freeze waves, how do you do it? Because right here, you actually don't freeze the wave. You have to break the freeze when you can freeze. So how do you go about deciding that?
So basically, the way I see it is, this is not a perfect freeze. Generally speaking, if you freeze creeps, like anywhere beyond here, let's put it, it's like, oh, you're touching the screen, so
Yeah, I'm moving back. All right, go for it.
So basically, generally speaking, if you want to freeze, you need to freeze your range creeps here. Anywhere further, what you're going to do is create a slow push, which is what I want to do because the only way Camille can lane in this matchup is by going all in. As you can see, I'm putting points in Q, and generally speaking, once I get level 7 with the little hex tech alternator item, that's when my Q poke is just too, like, it's way too much for Camille to handle.
Damage.
So as long as I just Q her, back off, hit her, I do that 2 or 3 times, she basically can't all in me anymore because I'll just body slam her off of me. So it's a very non-interactive lane, very hard to play. One of the reasons why Camille is not blind picked often, because lanes like this just happen to her. And in this case, I'm creating a slow push. I'm trying to get as much experience as possible before I base. I check for her teleport just to make sure, like, okay, she actually TP'd. This is my timing to recall because she's not going to be able to cancel me. And I'm recalling in range of the experience of the creeps, because if you play the clip, because she based and I froze the wave a little bit, you'll notice that instead of having the wave neutral, and we both base TP, this way I denied her 2 creeps of experience and lost the minimal amount of experience. Because usually if the wave's in the middle and they recalled first, you're going to be the one losing XP. So if you roll the clip, you'll see she'll miss 2 creeps worth of experience just by a little trick. And I also get to improve my recall here because I get by CSing the last CS, I get potentially a pink ward or a health potion that I can now buy, which I wouldn't have been able to. So I'm recalling in experience range, and generally speaking, the lane is on my side, so it's just safer to, when I TP back, it's safer for me to go farm. There's not an immediate gank angle, and I can use the fact that I have a really large wave building up to get my vision, therefore dodging the jungler.
Gotcha. So I have one last thing for you here. Can I just get, as we play out this fight, for me, this is kind of like the GG fight. You guys are like 0-1, but right here, as this Rift Tower fight goes on, for me, this is like the game ender. So can you tell me about how your thoughts are on how you played throughout the series and then your series moving forward? Are you excited to play against 100 Thieves? How do you think you'll perform there as well?
I look forward to it. So the mindset here is like I was a bit hesitant to push the wave because LeBlanc and Wukong could be trapping in the jungle. But then I just took a risk because we were contesting mid-prio. That said, my team is just going to be, like, my team just wins this fight 4 versus 5, basically. I wasn't there yet. And then I whiffed my ult because I wanted to finish off the Camille. But basically, all I had to do was just run in. My team did all the work here, and all I needed to do was make sure that I contribute. I just made sure, and this is very important, that my team is aware that I'm going to be late. Because I don't see Wukong, and I don't see Camille, if you can go back to before the fight started, because I don't see LeBlanc or Wukong, and LeBlanc was top, if you go way back. It's before...
I got it.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Awesome. So LeBlanc was top lane, and she went in the fog. So this is a neutral wave that LeBlanc could be on. I don't know. And Camille is mid, which means that Wukong not showing mid is very dangerous for me, because if I get chained from the bush here, for example, they could potentially kill me. Wukong has ult, LeBlanc has ult. It can be very dangerous. So I just let my team know I'm going to be later. Then when I felt like it was a good timing, I took a risk to push the wave. And now I'm moving in to support the team, and if my team just has the confidence that they're going to win. Beautiful charm by Soren there. Hans mentioned it as well, but he basically just completely neutered Alistar. He couldn't play the he got charmed on the flash combo, and the fight is just immediately over. So it was honestly really well played by my team, and they won a 4v5 straight up. And I came in to collect some extra dollars.
Good. I really appreciate talking to you. So once again, congratulations. Good luck in your game against 100 Thieves. I'm looking forward to it. You played 4 unique champions here. I hope you also play 4 unique champions in that matchup.
Well, we'll see.
That'll do it for us. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. And now we're going to head over to the Bud Light Breakdown.
Thank you so much. Hi, thank you, Bwipo. Congrats to the entirety of the Team Liquid squad for stringing 3 in a row together to complete that sweep after dropping the first one to FlyQuest. Great to hear from both individuals about what the victory means for them. Love the deep dive with Bwipo and getting a sense of how he thinks about the game and getting into some of the minutia of it all. But in the end, even dropping that first game, Jet, it did ultimately end up feeling like a TL smash.
It definitely gave a little bit of intrigue at the start.
Right.
But we were talking with Hai because he did the 3-0 prediction and a lot of us did the 3-1 prediction. It almost felt like 3-0 would have been the correct prediction with the way those 3 games went. Because games 2, 3, and 4 were just never in doubt. I think we have the stat for their average win time, which wasn't super fast, but like their average goal lead of 15 would have also been insane. Even 27 minutes as an average win time is very fast.
Because you mentioned that their second win was like 32-30. So that means that the other 2 wins were so lightning quick that they still averaged down to a 27. So, Raz, this is that kind of team like we talked about. The teams seem to be citing in the last couple of weeks of the regular season, right? Everyone kept saying, like, this Team Liquid squad, they really are the number 3. And we were more the people who were like, they could get tested. They could get tested.
Exactly. Like I was interested in especially how FlyQuest would play the early game and how that would contest Team Liquid. Team Liquid in game 1, I was like, okay, FlyQuest is not only getting an early lead, but then is also able to convert it. But no, Team Liquid just basically put them in the dumpster, and I feel like a lot of it was just how they played mid-game out.
Yeah.
The weakness that Team Liquid had in the regular season, I felt like was invisible, did not exist in this series.
Well, yeah, and then I think, in my opinion, 2 of these games are actually decided as early as First Herald, when FlyQuest would contest, and then that fight wouldn't go their way or go very poorly. The credit I do want to give FlyQuest, though, is that when I thought about this series, because I predicted 3-1 as well, and when I thought about how it was going to go, I was like, okay, TL will drop a game because of exactly what you said, Raz, because their mid-game has looked somewhat shaky. FlyQuest will lock in some sort of 5v5 like scaling team composition where they can just pop off in team fights.
Yeah.
And that's actually not what happened. So I do want to give FlyQuest a little credit for being able to hang in there in the early game of the first game. Now, in all other games, to me, especially in 2 of them, it was decided very early on, like as early as 8 minutes, as long as TL held on and snowballed properly, which they did, they were just going to run over these games.
But I think that's where we come back to just the idea of looking at, the players that exist on each roster, right? And so that's why I think FlyQuest can't walk away. Heads held still very high, as Philip stepped into his first ever best of 5 in the postseason and still performed admirably, even in the loss, and they'll have that shot at the lower bracket of run. But now it's time for us to talk about the player of the series, the person who takes the top honors across all of the games, and it goes to Hans Sama. I'm told that it was a tight vote, and in fact, even with Bwipo in here, when we were talking to him, it sounded like an impossible call, even within the team, about who it was. But
so we gerrymandered the vote as best we could by picking Hans Sama. So I'm curious who the second player would have been.
I'll await that information.
Yeah.
Okay, Santorin was just behind him, and then Bjergsen as well was on the ballot. Though.
Okay.
3 different players.
I mean, everyone on TL actually played very well, and that's something that you notice when there are such lopsided games. When the team is playing from such a goal advantage, everyone does look good.
Yeah, the Draven game especially was a very strong one from Hans Sama. Not only that ulti, that was actually the least interesting ulti. The ulti that he had on LeBlanc on the top side of the map, and then on Renekton in the same exact location. His general positioning in teamfights. This is what we expected to see in Hans Sama when he came to North America.
Yes.
As the best AD carry in Europe at the time, I thought, and I'm sure he also felt like not very happy how the split had actually gone on for him. So then having this kind of series, just really setting the tone for the team in playoffs, I think is beautiful.
Yeah, and to that point, like, we saw him come out with a Draven today and have a phenomenal game. Anyone who's watched Hans in his career already knows that he's a great Draven player, but TL have locked in this pick and still lost with it because of the mid-game communication issues that we talked about. So to see him come out on that pick specifically, I think is awesome because Draven is very strong right now, and it changes the way that teams have to look at it, right? Because no longer is it like, oh, we need to weather it to the point where they make a mistake. Now they're looking so much better, snowballing these early advantages.
I do wonder how the strategy will differ at all when they play 100 Thieves next week.
Yeah.
Because we thought the Yuumi and Lulu bans were just very good for them because that's the matchup they want with Core versus aphromoo. But if they maintain that strategy through the rest of the playoffs, it just makes them very inflexible for the rest of their draft because 2 bans will be spoken for. I think, like, they don't have a big reason to change. It's really good for them, especially because they're so comfortable trading all these bot line picks.
Right.
You pick Sivir, we pick Draven, Sivir's gone, we pick Seraphine. Like, they seem to have that worked out very well. But it does show their hand for 100 Thieves and they're going to know a bit more what to expect.
Yeah, a really curious point of how FlyQuest drafted was, especially when it came to Game 3. They ended up having blue side again. They made that choice.
Yeah.
I think it was Game 4. And they ended up banning the Azir so they can get the Wukong. I think a lot of the times they felt like they were really hamstrung, at least in what they were willing to play in jungle. So they really needed to secure certain things if Vi wasn't going to be the pick. Whereas you go up against 100 Thieves, it's not going to be the situation at all.
Nope.
In fact, Abadog is Azir. If you give him that, he's going to pick it. And like that has been his best champion this split. Whereas Closer has about like 5 or 6 or so champions that you just purely respect them on. Some that he hasn't even played yet. I know that, you know, Lee Sin got buffed. Like past the regular season, he was streaming and it was like Lee Sin only. So he's just getting it ready. So there's a lot to be aware of going into 100 Thieves. That's completely different.
Well, let's continue this conversation, pulling up the bracket just to refresh on what's ahead of us. Tomorrow will be Cloud9 going up against CLG. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But as we mentioned, it's TL moving on to play 100 Thieves next week. And I loved that interview with Santorin, getting to hear from him, his perspective on the losses against that squad throughout summer. And the way he put it, you know, that they tested us. They were playing good League of Legends, but it's not like they were playing unbeatable League of Legends when we lost to them. And in multiple cases, he feels like it was their poor play that ultimately threw the game. And so can they recover that in a best-of-5 series against a very strong-looking 100 Thieves is something to be wondered. But tomorrow, we got Cloud9 versus CLG. This is a hype matchup because I think a lot of people, you know, are still sitting on the fence. And Jad, I'm going to kind of call to a JLXP episode where you kind of talked about how this series you feel like for a lot of people is going to be what cements CLG's you know placement in the regular season as either a success or a fluke, you know, being at number 4, because a lot of people are debating whether or not they're even the favorite being the higher seed tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's something that Jose even talked about. When you're not expected to be a good team coming into the year, people kind of just wait for you to lose and then say, oh yeah, we were at full time.
Yeah.
So you're constantly fighting against that perception. And CLG has defied that in a lot of best of ones, but doing it in a best of 5 against an org like C9, who even though they have a lower record, has the star power. It really is, I think, that moment where they can make their presence undeniable. But at this point, if they go into that series and they get swept, it's going to be like this whole split was a mirage.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just want to see these two teams go up against each other in the early game. We covered this previously the last time they met, but these are two of the bloodiest teams going up against each other in those first few minutes of the game. So I want to see what each of them have prepped over a best of 5. It just sounds like fun. Like every time CLG has loaded onto the Rift this year, it has been a good time, regardless of whether they win or lost. They've been
They might have the superlative
super
of
fun team to watch.
I think they may deserve the superlative of most fun team to watch from the regular split here in the
CLG,
LCS. CLG, yeah, I think they might be. Raz, you got a bit of a smirk on your face over there. What's going on?
Dash, you got your gas mask ready?
No?
Just in case.
Should I?
What?
I'm just saying, you need gas masks coming into the studio tomorrow. Because the amount of hopium from both teams is through the roof.
Okay.
You got C9 fans. They're like, we've got the best team on paper. We're going to win the championship, all the regular season games. CLG fans, we were waiting years for this. Kobe, every time he goes to sleep, CLG championship, CLG championship.
I love that you bring that up because in such a weird way, it does feel like there are so many stakes on a non-elimination best of 5.
Yes!
Right? It's like both of these teams are still in, even if they drop the series tomorrow. But because of that, it's the realization of the star power that Cloud9 has and that we've been waiting to see. Will that actually occur? Or is CLG going to hold fast to what they've done all throughout the split and actually prove themselves to be the 4th best team?
It's going to be exciting, and it's mostly because of the fan bases that are so charged in both these teams, like on their side. So I'm really excited for this one. And I can't wait for the predictions graphics tomorrow because whoever loses is going to hear it from every fan.
The one thing I can say is I could probably guarantee without actually knowing that there will be predictions on both sides.
Yes,
unlike
absolutely.
Today. Unlike today where it's
so if there's 16 predictions, I'm going to guess that 12 of them are C9.
I'm going to go 10. I'm going to go 10-6.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to go 10-6, but I'm with you that more will be for Cloud9 than CLG.
I'm going to predict mine is 3-1 for C9.
I think
9-7 3-2 for C9.
Wow.
I'm really curious what the result will be. A reminder that FTX is hosting the Nexus Stars tournament this August.
Boom.
with hundreds of limited edition in-game items, a gaming PC, and $10,000 in cash up for grabs. Open qualifier kicks off on August 27th and 28th, with the finals taking place on September 3rd and 4th. You can learn more at nerdstreet.com. Check it out. And make sure you also visit ftx.us. That's going to do it from us here, though. On behalf of myself, the casters, the entire broadcast crew, thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow for CLG versus C9. In anticipation of that matchup, we are proud to share the story behind CLG's jungler contracts in the latest installment of Drive.
It is really good.
Good night.
I think when I was at the bottom of my career in academy, reflecting back on how I grew up and how my family's doing, definitely played a very key role in bringing myself up. I think, I have to do it for them. I have to provide for them and make sure they're also living comfortably, and they have no one else to fall back on. It's only me that they can rely on, and I want to help them, and I think that was a very big motivator for me as well to keep striving to be pro and to get back into the LCS.
I'm giving up on my expectations, let them go and see where it takes us.
This is the first time I've ever talked about something like this. I've never vented to anyone. It's just always been bottled up. When I'm doing well, I'm really doing well, and I'm doing bad, I hold it in and don't vent basically to anyone, and then I'm gonna be playing worse, and definitely it's hard.
I just wanna wake up in the warmth of the sun and thank the gods for the gift.
My name is Juan Garcia. I'm the jungler for CLG, and some people know me as Contracts. So I grew up in just like a single mom family. My dad passed away before I was born. Relied a lot on my mom and also my brother as well. My brother and my grandma. That's pretty much the kind of like the family that I grew up with. My mom always worked 2 to 3 jobs growing up to support us, make sure I could eat, I could live in a house, didn't have to worry about working another job. Just overall doing everything she can to support me and my brother.
I was 4 months pregnant with Juan when his dad was in a car accident and was killed by a drunk driver. Trying to raise 2 kids on my own with working 2 jobs, it was just hard.
So my mom's had a few jobs. She mainly worked as a waitress, and she also did an office job for a bit. She works at a bar with my grandma now.
My mom watched him while I worked during the day, and while she watched Juan, they played online PC games, hunt for the hidden objects or ABCs, or he used to just sit on her lap and just do it for hours. It was great.
It sounds funny, but the grandma was always on the computer playing solitaire and Mojang and all these marble games. She was the one that got me my first computer when I was younger. Getting home from school right away, I would go into League. I would wake up early in the morning to watch LCS, watch Worlds. So I was definitely very dedicated, and it's always something that was floating in my mind when I started getting higher rank, but not something I was necessarily pursuing. It kind of felt like I got lucky in a sense.
C9 offered him this amazing contract to go down and live in the house. I was terrified. I'm like, who's gonna watch him? He doesn't know how to use an ATM card. He doesn't know how to do laundry. I still cook his dinners. What is he gonna do? So it was a big step for both of us. I remember him calling me from Santa Monica, doing FaceTime and showing me his washing machine, telling me which buttons he's supposed to press to do laundry. It was crazy. I was more concerned about school. I wanted him to go to college and do better than me working 2 jobs, trying to raise kids and a family. So I was really trying to push him to college, but So I let him go. I figured he had to follow his dreams. I mean, if I had one, I would hope my mom would let me go. So that's what I had in my head to do, let him do.
My mom was very supportive of like letting me have hobbies and just playing games and enjoying what I do. Her letting me have like this opportunity to even attempt to go pro, very grateful.
To start off, we've got Cloud9. They're welcoming in rookie jungler Contracts. He's looking to be that missing piece to get Cloud9 back to the very peak of the North American LCS.
He was just another young, talented, extremely mechanically proficient NA jungler, just wants to outplay everyone at every possible moment.
Here comes Contracts!
And Contracts trying to turn it around. Jensen does not Contract. He's not with the fast blood. Kicks Stardock into the turret range. Woo! Just breaks the game over his knee, looking for number 5. Here comes the damage up, but he does. 5 solo kills for Contracts.
My rookie year was definitely expected for myself. I feel like that was like the expectations I had for myself at the time. I was a very confident young player.
Finds it, gets it. Oh my God, Contracts!
That was probably like the peak of my career where I was like the happiest and I was playing the best and, I had everything set up for me.
Making it to finals for Contracts as a rookie, winning Rookie of the Split, that's a super impressive start to a career. It's shocking to think how good he was, to think he wasn't on that team again.
C9 became my home, I was really happy there. I was, they were very supportive of me and, my ideas and what I wanted to do. And unfortunately, I made some mistakes, made some hasty decisions, which led to me getting off of C9. I had a really good offer from C9 that I wasn't, I just kept wanting more, I was too greedy. And like I said, I was young, I wanted more, right? I made mistakes. My first year of LCS, I felt that peak, right? Like the top 8 at Worlds, and that feeling is something many players don't get to experience. So just remembering back to that peak and how it felt to be there, I'm just trying to get back to that point. I definitely took a lot for granted, at least from when I was on C9. Once I got into GGS, I lost it all. I was very quick to learn that I'm nowhere close to the top of the league and where I want to be, and I had much to learn.
Golden Guardians, by the numbers, one of the biggest failures of a roster that the LCS has ever seen. I don't think any team has ever gone 10th twice. You go from a second, almost first place team to 10th twice in a row to not even playing in the LCS. Contracts goes on the roller coaster, and not the one you want when you're a professional player, right?
Putting myself in those circumstances is, as a young player, it's just really hard to deal with, especially when your team's not doing well, you're losing every scrim game, stage games aren't going well. It's definitely something that adds up over time and builds up a lot of mental stress, and I think at some point during those GGS years, I was kind of just gave up on myself for a bit. Didn't put in much effort. Was kind of just going with the flow and really just driving by.
I've had a back problem since 2006, and I fell at a job. It's just a really difficult situation for everybody, especially the kids, because I wasn't quite there as I should have been. My mom had to step in and take care of the kids a lot of the times. Pain, medication is just, it's hard. And people that don't go through it don't understand what it does. It grabs onto you, the medication does. And unfortunately, it did grab onto me. I wasn't present like I should have been. I just hope he understands that it wasn't something I chose to do, and I just love him, and I just hope the best for him, and I just miss him.
At the time, I was definitely, angry, upset, frustrated, disappointed. it's just so hard for me to relate to, being addicted to something like that. So that's why I was like really frustrated and disappointed, because I just could never see myself in that kind of scenario. As time went on, and I'm 22 now, almost 23, I can definitely see where she's coming from, and and how much pain she was in, and she just didn't want to be in pain, right? That's all it is. And she's working 2 to 3 jobs, doesn't have enough money, to pay for surgery, and I'm still getting like new computers and just braces, etc. Like, you're just never really having to worry about money myself. I think she buried it a lot in herself, and obviously that's what a parent wants to do, right? You don't want to like make your kids worry or make them stress. You just want them to have a happy life, So definitely as I grew older, I realized like how much she was doing for me, and how much she cared for me because of what she did. I was already on GGS at the time when I had this conversation with her. I had a talk with her about it. She told me she's doing a lot better. She's overcome it, and I'm just happy that she's gotten to a point where she's just living well, and she doesn't need to rely on those things.
Every life situation, problem gives someone a little bit of a lesson. And I think me going through that situation, and him and Juan seeing what happened with me, who wants to be in that situation? No one wants to be in a situation where they're struggling. And knowing that he fell off and he wasn't being thought of as one of the top, that it gave him an absolute motivation to keep on going.
Because I was contemplating just like not playing anymore, but kind of just told myself that, I'm gonna give it another go. I'm gonna put in all the effort that I can to be the best and get back into LCS. And that was kind of like the turning point in my career, where it kind of clicked to me to where like I'm gonna put in the effort to be the best that I can be.
We have a new person coming into the EG lineup. Contracts swapping in for Svenskeren.
I subbed in for EG in 2021 summer. It was probably one of the most emotional games of my career. I think it was just really surprising to me to go against the first place team and perform with this much confidence. Like, that game for me felt like I was just in flow state.
Well, that looks risky. Moonfall pop, Contracts looking for the solo play. Finds a Contracts in the 1v3 outplay. And he's going again. Look at that. Oh, that's so filthy.
Let's fucking go, boys. Oh, it feels good, man.
And after the game, after we won, you just start getting emotional. I couldn't control it. I think I kind of backtracked. I'm like, wow, it's been like 2 years since I've been on stage.
Had like a rough 2 years after I left C9, right? Sorry.
When he went to C9 and I saw him went to China, they did amazing. I knew it wouldn't stop for him. I absolutely knew that he was gonna be one of the best. I just felt it.
What a summer split so far by CLG. Into the wall. Well, Contracts wants it again, and he gets it. Contracto's going in for another one. Contracts. I'm changing my ways, and I don't want to do. Contracts is just an absolute hero for this squad.
I'm excited. It's been a while since I've competed for, a top spot. I mean, that's always the goal, for sure, when you're a pro league player, at least for me. I'm confident in myself, and that was always something that I wanted to achieve again, get back to finals, make it to playoffs, make a good run for Worlds. My mom's, still very supportive, and definitely she was, texting me congratulations and, happy to see you back. And whenever you get messages like those, it always hits a little bit different, It always feels really good, and kind of your hard work is showing and it's paying off.
I'm just proud of him. It was a hard struggle growing up with him, being a single mom. And I'm just glad he's doing well.
She's the reason why I'm out here. A lot of my motivation and, just drive comes from her.